when we're trying to get our characters talking in Toon Boom Harmony, there's a couple of different ways that we can go about it. We can be much more detailed, realistic. We can be much looser and cartoony. So first, right now, we're going to explore what is probably the easiest way of going about it, and then we're going to start thinking a little bit more about the structure of the head and how to work with that. So I have a few extra layers that we'll look at later as we get into some more advanced and detailed ways of working with this. But the key thing is that we need to create mouths that we will use for drawing substitutions, and once we have these drawing substitutions, we're going to import some audio and allow Harmony to automate the lip sync. And it's pretty good at doing it within reason. So there are certain things that will fail on it, and we'll take a look at some of those going forward. Key thing though is you generally need decent audio with clear enunciation for it to be effective. So if you find garbage audio with a lot of background noise, or it's poorly mic'd and fuzzy, it's going to struggle. So just be warned. Now I have my head. I'll just extend it out using function key F5. So you can see there it is. Now I have my basic mouth. This is going to be a mouth that is, actually I'm going to, I was thinking about this as my neutral mouth, but I think I want to make my neutral my non-talking mouth even a little bit. Just kind of make it, oh, got to set my color. No, don't want that. So now I have my basic, this is my mouth when my character isn't speaking. It will just be a simple plain mouth. Moving to the next frame, I want to calculate what my next mouth is going to be. Now one thing you'll notice, I have all my colors that I'm planning to use in my character in place, but I'm not using them yet because it's easier to develop our mouth shapes using onion skinning so we can be a little bit more consistent in what we do. Now the mouth shapes, as we work with them, I'm going to go back to this, and we're just going to refer to this mouth as our non-talking. So I'm going to just add some notes on the mouths here while we do this, because this is a learning file. Of course, you wouldn't do this in your own project. You wouldn't put the notes directly on it. Now, we also, when we label these mouths and work with it, Harmony is going to require us to name our files in a very or our drawings, and we'll look at how we name our drawings for drawing substitution in a very specific way. And to do that, I am going to put a big X here. X is how we would label it. It's a capital X, and it refers to the non-talking mouth, the mouth when it's making no sound. Now I move into my next one. And this time, what we're looking at is we're looking at when the mouth is doing a closed mouth consonant. So that's when we make a M sound, a B sound, a P sound. So these closed mouth consonants, because the different mouths that we need don't tie to words, they don't tie to letters, they correspond to phonetic sounds. So this is the closed mouth consonant sound where we go mm. So we would use it for our M sound. And if you get in the habit of using your rotating your animation wheel while you do things like this, it does make it a little bit easier. So we can see we have our two mouths as we work with it. The remaining mouths that we're going to work with are for when the mouth starts to open. Now we need to remember the fact that when we open, the lips move, the lower jaw and teeth can move, but the upper teeth and the skull don't. They're fixed, they're attached. So that does affect what we can do. So now this is going to be our open mouth consonants. Oh, and going back one frame, this is now referred to as drawing A. Moving on to my next frame. This mouth is my open mouth. So it can be useful when you're doing this. You look in the mirror and see what happens when you make these sounds. So we go, where we stretch our mouth, but it stays closed. Now when we do C, the upper lip is going to go up a little bit on the mouth. And the lower lip will be below it. And what we're going to end up seeing as part of this kind of mouth, we may have some teeth that are visible, so we can put that in. Now you can decide how you want to do this. If you draw the teeth completely or not. So if we draw the teeth, oh, that's not extended out. But if we work with the teeth in their entirety and want to include them, how do we want to fit that into the head? So we'll take a look at how we can do that moving forward. So this is going to be drawing B, and this is our C, D, G, and K, and R, S, Z, and other closed consonant sounds. Moving on to our next mouth, we're going to have mouth C, and this is where we're going to open the mouth, and we're saying the E sound. And when we say the E sound, the teeth are going to separate. The lips are going to, so the upper part of the mouth is going to be pretty similar. The lip may come down a little bit. And the mouth is now going to open slightly, not a lot, but slightly, so that we can even start to see some of the lower teeth, and we're going to see upper teeth, and we'll see inside the mouth. So this is going to be, once again, for the E kind of sound. Now, our next mouth that we work with, we'll be labeling that D. Going from our E, now we're going to the A sound. When we make the A sound, the mouth is going to open more. I don't like that shape. And as we do this, now having some consistency across your drawings as you do this is going to be helpful. Those are my bottom teeth. And now what I might see as part of this, I might see the tongue. So we go, so we have our non-talking mouth, our closed consonant, C, where we see the teeth, E, and then A, and then we're going to be looking for an O, an U, an F, and an L sound. These are the ones we're going to be continuing with. So now it's O, and we label this drawing E. Again, we haven't talked about how do I go about labeling my drawings, but we will look at that. Here. We kind of have the O, A, so we have E, A, O, and then the ooh. This is where you start kind of sticking your lips out, ooh. So as we do this mouth shape, and let's try that one again. Put the tongue in there. And notice, the upper teeth, if they include or show in what we're doing, the upper teeth can't move unless the head moves because they're attached. So now we have our O, or our oo. So U, or OU, but it's a U kind of sound. And we labeled this with the letter F. And that now brings us to our F mouth, which is going to be fairly similar to our B mouth where the teeth are biting. I'm going to change the lip a little bit, but I'm going to use this as a starting point. So there's nothing that says I can't copy that and paste this in. And that's interesting. Didn't think I copied out there as well. We don't want that. Okay. So this is now going to be my G drawing, or my F, my V, the sounds we make when we bite down on the lower lip. Oh, too much. Redo the upper. So the teeth are biting into the lip. So that's what we use for that. And then finally, the mouth we want, which is going to be a variation kind of, it's commonly, we can vary it based on the A sound here. But we're going to do so this is going to be for, I need to go back to my pencil. This is going to be for my L sound. So my la, 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 where when we make this sound, instead of, actually, we can just select that, get rid of that, get rid of that. I'm going to just remove the teeth that are there. And we'll change a little bit on the lips. But it gives me a starting point, which is handy. So this is now where the tongue is up against the back of the teeth for the la 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 sound. Okay, so now I have some basic mouth shapes to work with. And if we turn off onion skinning it's easier to see a. Whoop. Uh-oh. When I copy and pasted, that's why I had this step out here. I pasted the drawing in. So let's see. It's in my drawing substitutions. Do I have? Yep. So I'm missing one over here. I'm missing B. So we have to be careful when we copy paste. What is the active window? I was trying to have my camera view be my active window and it wasn't, so I kind of messed that up. So this is my closed mouth consonant. So we have our open mouth, closed mouth. So now we have to fix this. So what we need is, I need a new empty. I mean, I could duplicate this, but I'm just going to start out with a new empty drawing so that we have something empty there. And this drawing will be my B. And my B is going to be for my C, D, G, K, N, R, S, T, H, Y, Z. So it's the closed mouth consonant. So let's work on drawing this. So this is as we go across. Put in a little bit of teeth action, a little bit of mouth. Oh. Alright, I think I like this better than the one I had before anyway. Okay, so that's good. Now, we need to be able to rename these drawings. And that will allow us to lip sync and to be able to then we can color them and work with that as well, which will be useful too. So we have the mouth there, it's closed. We move to the next mouth, closed, next mouth here. We need to color in some teeth. And if we want to color in the teeth, I can grab my teeth color and paste it in. Now I find it's useful. Let's go zoom in a little bit as we do this. Now you'll notice I can drag across and then select multiple things, but when I'm doing this, what I do like to do is I like to go through and do all one color and then go back. Okay, I'm gonna need a black line there, so let's go back and need to separate the teeth from the gums there, otherwise the teeth are going to be really big and that will look really weird. So I can color those parts in. Now I can start working my way back. Let's go color in the tongue. We don't have a lot of tongues, so I didn't choose to include them with this character. And I'll use skin 2 for the gums when they show. And if we decide as we work with it, the colors, oh, I forgot to color this one. But if we don't like, well, let's go back and close those. So we can see there's little gaps here. Wrong tool. So I added a separate drawing. I think that because I messed up. And as I messed up with the mouth, it caused a problem. So I didn't have the one I wanted because I copy-pasted the wrong thing. So the easy thing to do is just when you are somewhere, just I can click on the button to add an empty drawing, add that empty drawing, and then put it into my project. So don't worry about it's like, oh, I entered the wrong thing or I need a new drawing. We go into drawing substitutions and we can see what we have there. So we can see how we have our different mouths. So we have some help on our naming when we look at this. And there's two ways that we can go about naming our drawings. One way that we can name our drawings is we can switch into edit mode. And if we go into edit mode, now we can select rename drawing. And we can go through each of our drawings and do it. Another way that we can do it, even if edit mode is turned off, is I can right click on my drawing, go into drawings, and we'll see that we have an option to rename the drawing. So now when I go to rename it, currently this drawing, we can see in our drawing substitution has a name of 1. So it's very important when we're doing this that we're renaming these correctly as we need it. Now we're going to be using capital letters, that's a requirement for the auto lip syncing. And we need to name them according to the instructions that I have written on each of them, which gives me a nice little cheat sheet. So then I can say X. And we'll see that now that is labeled X and is at the end of the line. So if we go into edit mode here, then we can just rename the drawing right up there. But we have to be in edit mode to be able to rename it up here, and I do that through right clicking. So I have my cap lock key down to make it easy, and I can just go A. Now this we can see will be labeled G. So I do kind of like doing it in drawing substitution when I put my notes on here. So I know what I want to rename each of these drawings. So I'm just looking at it, looking at what's on the list for that renaming. So I find this to be super useful as we rename our drawings. So now we can see it goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, L, and X. And now I will turn off edit mode and we're back to what we want it to be. So now it's almost like my character is talking here anyway. They're just going through a series of mouth shapes. And there's an animation technique for lip syncing called meow meow that's used by some studios that do episodic productions. So productions that it's like TV series, Netflix series, and things like that, where they have to crank out a lot of episodes in short order. So instead of doing precision lip syncing, they just cycle through when a character is talking the different mouth shapes, and the character essentially is going meow 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 meow, moving through the different mouths. And surprisingly, it seems to line up with most audio. So step one when we're doing lip syncing is we have to create our mouth shapes, and they have to be properly named. Now I've gone ahead and colored in the rest of my head artwork so that we can see what's there. And now we're ready for the next step in the process. And this next step in the process is that we want to bring in some audio to lip sync with. I've taken my two layers of my head and my mouth, so it's a really simple head, and I did add a peg to it. I just did that so I will be able to scale or move this around as we advance with the lesson, and it'll become clearer as we work on that shortly. So what I'm going to do is I need to bring in some audio. Now when I go to bring in some audio, we go under import and we choose sound. Now I need to find my sound. Now I went and recorded just some basic audio reading off of just a simple voiceover practice script that I found online just so I had something to say. You can go grab audio from any source, save it out as a WAV file in whatever tool you use as you go and look for it. Now I find that audio, I click open, we see it adds the audio to my timeline. Now what I need to do is I need to extend my scene for the duration of the audio. And I don't know, okay, so it looks like it's about 720 frames long for the audio. We can see that my artwork disappears at that point, so we can extend that out by collapsing on the top level peg, click in the timeline, function key F5 to extend it out. This is where the fun happens. We go into the audio layer. Now if I want to listen to it and if I hit play, we'll see that we don't hear any sound. We have these icons on my toolbar. One will allow the sound to play.
This place is called.
And the other, with the little S in front of it, means if I scrub. If I scrub the timeline, I can hear the sound, which is useful when I'm trying to line up audio or lip syncing with it. So you can turn those on and off. So if you add sound and you hit play and you can't figure out why it's not playing, but you know your computer is set up to play audio, make sure you turn on your sound icons. Sometimes we leave the play one off and just leave the scrub one. And you just have to scrub.
It's called Black Forest for a reason.
And if you go at about real-time play, it sounds decent. Now, what I want to do is with my audio to automate my lip sync. If I right click and at the very bottom of the list, so I right click on the audio waveform in the timeline, we see it says lip sync, and we first choose auto lip sync detection. We only have to do this one time after importing audio. Once it's been analyzed, we don't need to redo that process. It goes pretty quick here. So this was 720 frames, so it's a decent amount of time that we have occurring, and I've now analyzed it. The next step is we need to map the syncing to it, and when we do that we choose the sound, the one we clicked on, and then we're going to click on destination layer and choose the layer that we want to use drawing substitution with. And right here it shows our different A through X mouths that we worked with. So this is why the naming convention matters. If I had named them differently, I could type those names in here and it would find them. But if you just rename your mouth substitutions and then leave that default, I really do think that's the easiest way to work. And once I do that, I click on OK. And now we can see the mouth is changing.
This place is called the Black Forest for a reason. Its name is suiting. Everything here reeks of rot and mold. By late afternoon, the sun no longer shines through the mossy treetops. It feels like night comes again as soon as it's left. And with the night comes the forest creatures, prepared with their unsatiated appetite for anything with a heartbeat. It's terrifying.
It worked. Now, what it doesn't do is it doesn't find, so on the mouth, it doesn't find the L sound. So we have to go back through and manually change where that's happening. If I listen to the audio again.
This place is called the Black Forest.
Called
The Black.
So right here. So we go the ka, and then I'm going to switch this to my L mouth. And then close consonant D.
This place is called the Black.
Okay, so that worked. Now we have. So we have the B and then the L happening next. I'm going to switch that to L for 2 frames and then go to the blah. So we need the ah sound frames after that, and then we go to the K. So now we look at.
It's called the Black Forest.
Okay, that works.
Forest for a reason. Its name is suiting. Everything here reeks of rot and mold.
Let's go find the mold.
And mold. And mold.
So we get the. I'm going to make that go for 1 more frame right here. And then go to my closed consonant. And we'll have the and, mold. So we're going to switch to the O sooner here. O. And then turn where it had put it, we'll make that go L for 2 frames. If you want to see it, you do have to have it on screen for 2 frames, so a 2-frame block. So we're able to just switch through the drawings.
And mold.
And that looks better already right there. Now let's see this next part.
By late afternoon.
By 2 frames there. Then we'll switch that to our LL. And then this is. I'll switch to that. I'm going to leave this one open.
The sun no longer shines through the moss.
Oh, no longer.
Shines. So
there's an L right there.
No longer shines through the mossy treetops. It feels like night comes.
So we look for those L sounds and we put it in.
It feels like night.
Then we have a like right here. So that's L. And then we I, A. Yeah, I think the A is going to be the one I want for that. And then we move to our consonant, close, like.
soon as it's left. As soon as it's left.
Then we have the
Left. As soon as it's
so we have the close as left. So right there, L. Okay, it seems like we're working.
And with the night comes the forest creatures, prepared with their unsatiated appetite for anything with a heartbeat. It's terrifying.
All right, let's go from the beginning.
This place is called the Black Forest for a reason. Its name is suiting. Everything here reeks of rot and mold. By late afternoon, the sun no longer shines through the mossy treetops.
So you can see how we're able to quite quickly adapt and adjust what we are working on here to clean it up. Now, there was a little bit in the beginning, a little sound that was picked up in the mic, and I should have edited that out. I didn't, but then we get where the mouth changes, so that's where I probably want to keep it there. And a full character, before I start speaking, during this silent part, I might do a head movement, I might do an eye blink. These are all things that we can do to further control it. But right now our current objective is trying to understand how this lip syncing
Place is called the Black Forest for a reason.
Works. So to review the steps, we import sound. Once the sound has been imported, we right click on the sound, we choose auto lip sync detection. Then we choose map lip sync and choose the layer that's going to be mapped to this. And once we do that, we have to go and just clean up certain things, specifically the L as we add it in. I want to then demonstrate how once this is done, if we have characters that have the mouths that have been properly named, I'm going to bring in some previous characters that I've used in other examples and see how with one click I'm going to be able to make them speak. So I've imported some of my older characters that I've worked on in a variety of examples, and we're going to set them to lip sync to the same audio. Process is the same. We've already mapped or auto lip sync detected, so we just choose map lip sync. Now what we have to do is find the layers we want to map. Now it turns out a lot of them are all named mouth. So I'm going to go grab so some of these characters have a front and profile view, so we'll go and grab profile on Beardo, say OK. So now I'm just going to turn off scrubbing, we don't want to listen, but we'll see how his mouth is moving. We do need to extend out the exposure on our different characters, so we will do that in a moment. Actually, we'll just do that first. And if I use my full screen option here, it just makes it a little easier to see the layers as I am working on them. Go out to the end. So for this character, F5, we're going to override. So we're going to have to re-lip sync it because I just overwrote what was there. Maybe. We'll see. Slug, extend that out. The big guy, extend that out. The Wick character, extend that out. The Taft character, let's extend that out. Okay. Exit our full screen. Back to normal. So we can see now the horn beard guy, it's working. Oh, there we go. Let's go back to the beginning. And we can see how some of these characters are some had previous lip syncing, so it looks like they might be remembering some of that. Not entirely certain. So let's just go here, map lip sync. This time under mouth. Alright, I have to do a little bit more. Apparently, I thought I'd rename these, but apparently their layers are called mouths, so we don't know which is which. If we go into the big guy here, go into the head, we can see the mouth, and that one is named mouth big guy, so we were able to find that. So that was fine. Now on the slug does have two heads that we're working with. It has a front head and a profile head. And currently with that one, we're going to, so we can see how we have the side mouth for it. We also have, okay, the front mouth doesn't, oh no, there it is. There is our lip syncing for the front mouth. And I think what we're going to do is set front mouth and front head, make it go away, and then turn on exposure for the slug head. And I neglected to remember I had just turned off the visibility on it or deactivated those. So now we have the slug front. We can just deactivate the two heads so they go away. We do have now the slug profile, and now we look at that slug head. So we have slug mouth profile. So that will be the drawing layer that we target. So it starts with S, which is why it didn't show up on the list. Instead of going mouth slug profile, it started with an S. Alright, so now we know that. So we got the beard guy. If we go back over here, lip sync, map our lip sync. This time we'll scroll down to S's and we'll go slug mouth profile. Map that lip sync, and now we can see how the characters are talking. So we're getting there. So we got the beard guy done, the slug done. Big guy, can't remember if I did him, so we'll just do it again. And mouth big guy. So now he has it. We should, if they all go to the closed consonant mouth during this little bit here, that part we had to fix on our redhead guy, we know that part's working. Okay, now if I go into my Wick character, let's see, head, go into, there are the mouths that go along with that, and it's mouth, and we'll just call it mouth wick. So that's there, so we'll be able to target that now. And then finally on our Taft character, go through, let's go find his mouth layer, and this will be mouth Taft. So if you're going to be combining multiple characters into a scene, it can be useful. So we can see he's animating, his upper lip is with his mustache. And you can see the lower lip does get some chin modification, so it will make the chin go down. Because if I click on one of these, you can see how now the chin goes further down, so it's like he's opening. So this is a way that we can extend beyond the actual head shape, because the artwork for the chin is part of the head shape, but we can sit on top of it with our mouth when we extend it down into a wide open mouth. So you can see how that really changes the character of what we're doing when we create a different thing. And his mustache changes shape as well, so it kind of extends out. It almost has a life of its own. When we look at this mouth with the FV, we look at the closed consonant, we look at the non-talking mouth. So it extends out with character would be an easy way of describing that. So now we go under our mouth options here, and we have mouth wick. We'll do that. Right click once more on lip sync, map our lip sync, and choose mouth taft. And if I scrub the timeline, we should see all of these characters are now speaking. I'm not going to go and change and put in the L mouth for all of them, but if we hit play,
This place is called the Black Forest for a reason. Its name is suiting. Everything here reeks of rot and mold. By late afternoon, the sun no longer shines through the mossy treetops. It feels like night comes again as soon as it's left. And with the night comes the forest creatures, prepared with their unsatiated appetite.
So hopefully you notice in both the wick and the taft character, with the extra painting going on around the mouth, that it makes it so the mouth, the whole lower jaw appears to open on certain mouth shapes. So we can see on these mouth shapes where the mouth is opening further versus on the big guy with the orange skin where the jaw's not moving, so the mouth is starting to get a little bit too big for what is there. The slug character, there's a lot more drawing going on as well. So as you think about how you want to build your mouth, you can go online, you can look up different lip sync charts for the different phonetic sounds. But the key ones that we work with, the closed consonant, the open consonant where the teeth are still together, then we have the E's, the A's, the O's, the U's, the F's, L's, and then of course a neutral or non-talking mouth. So as long as you create those different mouth shapes, name them correctly. So we name them in our drawing substitutions. We're able to make it work. So in my redhead where I have the extra writing on the sides here, that's for instructional purposes. We would certainly go, if this was in production, I would go and delete all of that from them because we wouldn't want it there, but it does make it easier your first time through when you're trying to set this up. So I hope that this gives you some insight into how to work with it, and in the future we will look at then how we can combine together multiple characters like this into a single scene. Good luck and have fun.